Okay, so Patrick, do you want to jump in and start talking?
Hi James. So first of all, we're going to talk about a dyslexic and a parent. We're going to do a profile of each. This profile is not necessarily going to suit every dyslexic. Dyslexia is actually an umbrella term, and every dyslexic will be slightly different for lots of different reasons. But a lot of the time, now I come across very common characteristics. A lot of the time with a dyslexic, you have an early child dyslexic who tries hard academically and fails, and also sees others improving with some sort of tangible progress happening around them, and no tangible progress happening with them. What would happen in terms of the psychology of dyslexic is that they would, over time, sort of grew an inbuilt sense that they are not academic. Now, this is not, while this is not necessarily the case. This is certainly what they feel, and this is certainly their reality, and this is also maybe the reality that teachers experience around dyslexics or non-academics. As a result, dyslexics begin to feel that the kind of academic work, there's no hope, and with people also encouraging them to work harder, to improve their spelling, improve their essay structure, the quality of their written work, their organisation. But dyslexics not having a very clear understanding of how to do this, you have a sort of no end in sight scenario for a lot of the dyslexics. Now, take the profile of a parent. Again, parents are completely different, and their relationships with their kids are also completely different. But again, a lot of what I see is the parent usually wants the kid to do well, and is completely bewildered in the sense of not really knowing what to do with the child. There's a lot of motivation in terms of, come on, you can definitely do it, and that type of thing. But there's no real strategy, and there's no real methodology. And it's a slightly tense situation, and also a lot of the time, not all the time, but a lot of the time, I think the parents feel that the kid over time has become to be an ineffective worker, that they feel that whilst that they do have problems, that they're becoming lazy, they're becoming, and that is the case. It is often the case that a child, when they start to give up, they become quite lazy. And so the parent is often, very keen to encourage, but also very keen to emphasize that the kid needs to work hard. Parents feel powerless, and those are the two agents in the situation. Now, let's look at these two agents together. The parent is keen for the student to do well, keen to communicate this regularly, wants to encourage hard work. The dyslexic is weary by regular underachievement, told he can do better, but secretly doesn't believe it. And it's the analogy of trying to get a pig to fly. The dyslexic has no faith that this is going to happen. And what you get is you get a toxic relationship. Now, it's important to talk about how things go right. I think it's also equally important, or even more important, to talk about how things go wrong, and that's what people maybe don't really focus on. It's important. I see things going wrong. I see things going wrong between the relationship between the mum and the kid in terms of dyslexia, and communication slightly breaks down, and it can get very, very tense. A brain will start to protect itself. Now, because the dyslexic over time has actually, in an internal way, been very critical of themselves, then they'll start to avoid this criticism, because it starts to create conflicts in the brain. If you have the example of someone being verbally abusive, you cross the road and you want to avoid them, and it's the same in the proverbial sense, that if some situations create some sort of criticism, which is a sort of it feels like an attack on the person, you want to avoid that, and so you will avoid the topic of work, you will avoid the subject of moving on, and as a result, you will either have a row with it. You'll have, say it's your mum saying, look, I really need you to work harder, or you passively avoid it.
Okay, thanks, Patrick. Stephen,